Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelove, and this is Speedplay Touggourt number 16. So we start off in the midst of a war with the Spanish-led coalition. We go ahead and move a couple of our forces in the Southeast Indies and move our forces around throughout the rest of the empire. We're going to probably send our army to Spain, as we have two really significant fronts, one in Middle Africa and another in Spain itself. Ideally, we'll be able to get our forces over without having to worry too much about the Spanish fleet and defeat our rebels. And we'll see how well that goes. We go ahead and begin unloading our troops. However, we do see a Spanish armada on its way, so we go ahead and bring our forces back. We send our combat navy over to Gibraltar, but it'll take quite a while before it gets there. So we're going to just continue battling in Spain and hope for the best. We do send more and more forces over, however we lose that battle, which is definitely unfortunate. And overall, though, we aren't in a terrible position. The Ottomans are doing quite a bit of heavy lifting in the Iberian Peninsula, and we are more or less putting out any of the fires in the rest of our fronts. So we'll go ahead and create another force and get ready to move over once we get enough forces to take over the seas. And we do go ahead and make peace with the Papal State, taking one province. And now that we have our navy set up, we can move forces into Spain and begin moving forward across their peninsula. We do reinforce our army, and hopefully this battle will go successfully, which it does. And with success in that one battle, we're not in a pretty bad spot. We can continue what we're doing. We do a little bit of colonizing and make a small army over in Siberia. Now, the main plan is we don't have enough forces to win everywhere, but we should have enough men that we can win in Spain. And as long as we win in Spain, which is the war leader, we'll be able to force them out of the war and get pretty good terms. What exactly pretty good terms mean is yet to be seen, but as long as we go ahead and just spread our forces out to siege the Spanish holdings, we will hopefully be able to get this done and done well. Ultimately, at the very least, I will hopefully get some of their islands, so we do go ahead and drop an army off on one of their island chains to get that. And we are just piecing out all of their side members right now, as there's really no reason to have to fight everything. We lose a small battle, however we do have a significant force in the area, so we are able to reinforce and win in the subsequent exchanges. And now we've essentially got them on the run. If we win this battle, we'll be in a great spot. Unfortunately, we lose it, but we're winning enough that that isn't that much of a setback. Now, you'll notice that we do have a bit of an issue with rebels, but hopefully that won't come up until we have defeated the Spanish army. At this point, we're really just building a lot of forces and getting everything ready. We do start building buildings as we are just at our point limit. We win a follow-up engagement against the Spanish army. Unfortunately, they flee to Portugal, so we'll basically just have to deal with them existing for a while, although the Ottomans do have their army over. And as it is, we're just going to continue these sieges, as we really don't have to worry about too much at this point. What we'll probably end up doing is sending a small force over to siege another one of their islands, and realistically, we'll be in a pretty good spot. We just have to worry about not basically letting all of our points go to waste. And there was a bit of a rebellion, but we'll take care of that. And at this point, most of Iberia is ours. We have built up our force to go destroy that one Spanish rebellion, and their army is essentially destroyed, so we don't really have all that much to worry about. We do get one revolt, but we'll go ahead and build an army to defeat that. And realistically, we're in a very good spot. It's not ideal, but we can start moving our forces back as one of the theaters is completely over. And we'll go ahead and send a force to our fleet in order to go start siege out a few of their islands. There are a bit more rebellions, and unfortunately we did lose one of our fleets. We send a combat fleet over to deal with that, and that does work. Although we did take a few losses, it's not so bad. We send another transport fleet over to get more of our troops, and we go ahead and build even more buildings. The situation in East Africa is deteriorating due to all of the rebellions, and a lot of our forces are just spawning in and going at the rebels and dying. So the situation is definitely declining in that area. We go ahead and cancel production of a lot of those troops and build a second group entirely. Meanwhile, we aren't really in a great spot to make peace with Spain. We do have a call for peace, and we're getting quite a few rebellions, which is just not great. But I want to at least get the Spanish islands off our coast, the Canary Islands and others. If we can get those and maybe Gibraltar, I'll be pretty happy with this peace deal. Although at this point we are facing a lot of internal unrest, and that is just incredibly unfortunate. So we go ahead and set up where we'll be able to take a lot of their provinces. We haven't finished a couple sieges yet, so we do have to continue to wait. And there are just a slew of rebellions, but we're starting to be able to move our forces over to deal with this threat. So hopefully it won't be that much of a catastrophe, although it is kind of seeming like one at this point. And we do continue to build buildings in order to maintain basically just not the cap of our admin points. Meanwhile, we've nearly finished the colonization of Siberia, and we've gotten a good amount of our forces off of Spain and to places where we actually need them. We had a bit of a rough spot for a moment where the rebels were winning, and in fact we're getting just more rebels, which doesn't help at all. But we are winning the battles and bringing areas that were under their control back into the fold. We do start sending our armies all back. What we might do is just send another force over to that island and just siege them, just rush the siege and assault the province. Although it looks as though we won't actually need to do that, we can go ahead and get peace, taking as many provinces as we would like. We're going to take Panama and a bit of their colonial holdings. And there we go. We've got Gibraltar, all of their islands in the Mediterranean, and a little bit of their Brunei holdings. So we'll go ahead and begin coring all of that, and now we just have to wait until our coring completes and defeat all of these rebels. Now defeating all of the rebels isn't as straightforward as it seems, as there are quite a few basically everywhere, and now that we're overextended we have to deal with that effect on our national unrest as well. So it is just beginning to fall apart, to be completely honest. Luckily, our armies had been set to win a major battle against a European powerhouse, and since we're not at war anymore, we can bring our entire army to bear against essentially our own people at this point. And that's exactly what we'll do. As the regions, essentially everywhere that we conquered in the last 100 years, has decided that they are not at all happy with having us as their leadership. Admittedly, it could go much better. We create as many forces as we can and just begin to slog through these rebellions. It's essentially the closest thing we can get to a civil war, and it's just not great in so many words. Luckily, we do have quite a few transports, and we have armies in more or less every theater. We're able to go ahead and clear out the rebellions. I'm not too worried about their long-term impact, as we are at peace. If we got these while we were at war, maybe 10 years ago when we were fighting Austria and Spain, that would probably have broken us, and we would have had a few new states emerge from the ruins. But since we are at peace when all of this is occurring, we will be able to just deal with it. Although it's definitely going to be about a year or two of just putting down rebellions throughout the countryside. Not ideal, but not the end of the world. And if anything, this really is just an alert that you really should pay attention to war exhaustion. I really wasn't. I've just been conquering this entire time without much of a concern at all, really. And that wasn't ideal. At any rate, at this point, we've essentially got it worked out. Our armies are just going from place to place, defeating rebellion after rebellion, and I'm not too concerned that any group is going to break our country. We do have to jump back and forth to actually move our armies around enough, but it's not at the point where it's a legitimate, life-threatening concern. So with that said, we're nearly done. As soon as we defeat all of their armies, all we'll have to do is siege the provinces back, and we'll be able to focus on the next set of objectives for Touggourt. which is, quite frankly, a bit up in the air. We have gone into Europe, although we do have truces. And now that our countryside has been pacified, we're in a pretty good spot to basically just pick a direction and go conquer it. More likely than not, since we are in the last 100 years of this game, we may go ahead and just finish our conquests of Africa and just sort out the continent before the end. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Touggourt has gone very far.